Alright, I'm going to do a video that's, I guess, kind of a little different than what I usually do. I'm going to talk about, like, wealth manifestation and what I've realized as far as that goes, because lately I've been kind of manifesting some wealth, I guess you could say. Now, I'm not manifesting, a lot of wealth, but more than I ever have before. And I believe, as weird as it sounds, I believe it has a lot to do with my state of mind. So now, I don't know, that, like, I've got a list of videos that I want to make, but this is what's been on my mind lately, and I'll tell you why. Because the day before yesterday, hold on, let me shut this. So, and hopefully the mechanic doesn't see this, because I'm going to say some things that don't really put shine him in the best light, I guess you could say. But this is something that really happened. It's a real life experience that I learned from. So this guy is a mechanic, so he's got the ability to make a lot of money by working on cars. That's a very profitable business. But he's got this kind of state of mind where money is, like, scarce. He acts like, and it's mainly because I think he just hates working on cars at this point. And when you hate doing something, it you tend to overcomplicate things, and you're just, here's the problem with doing a job you hate. You're usually trying to rush through it and just get it over with, and what ends up happening is you end up having to do everything 2 or 3 times. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that's exactly what's happening, but I see him flipping out occasionally over a car and, like, blaming the car and stuff, and I'm thinking to myself, if you just took your time and did it slowly and carefully, you probably wouldn't be going nuts over there like this. But the thing is, I have similar issues myself. Now, I recently put a motor on my mountain bike, which I am not a mechanic, and I'm not good with electric stuff, but I am good with my hands. I'm good at fixing things, and I'm good at building things. So I was like, I'll try it. Why not? It's cheaper than buying an electric bike, and I can buy another mountain bike and put this end motor on it, and it just made more sense to me. Mainly, it's the weight too. Electric bikes are heavy, but when you do it yourself, it's nowhere near as heavy. You got a light bike with a pretty light motor on it. The heaviest thing is the battery. So, I've got an electric bike, but I can easily pick it up and throw it over a fence if I wanted to, or hook it up and drag it around behind my car, put it on the rack on the back of my car. It's not gonna, I'm actually carrying a lot more weight than this car is built to handle, probably. So I just didn't want to put some heavy ass electric bike on the back. I wanted something lighter. But one of the things I realized when I was working on that bike is I was getting the urge to get very angry. There's always going to be issues. Whatever you're working on, I don't care what it is. With carpentry, with anything, whatever you're building, whatever you're working on, building out the car, there's going to be complications. There's going to be issues that you're going to have to figure out. Now, the past version of me used to just get angry. Why isn't everything going perfectly? Yeah, that's not exactly what I was thinking, but that's the gist of it. I just didn't realize it. And so I'd be sitting there getting myself all worked up, and then some other little thing would go wrong, and it would just build up to the point where I'm working on this thing and I'm ready to smash it and throw it in the trash. You know what I mean? So I'm sitting here building my electric bike here, and complications are arising, things that you got to figure out. And I would catch myself almost getting angry, and I'm thinking, but nowadays I'm just a different person, because, like, the thought that would occur to me is like, hey man, shit's gonna happen. Like, everything's not gonna just work perfectly and smooth 24/7. Fucking relax. It ain't that big a deal. Figure it out. And that's what I did. Instead of just getting angry and getting upset about it, I just calmly evaluated the situation and did my best to make it work. I didn't let it get me all angry and upset and stupid. So, but it all has to do with, like, I'm in, like, a different frequency at this point. Is someone yelling back there? Hold up. Uh, yeah, they're yelling about something back there. I can't really see. Can y'all see back there? I can't see. It's always something around here, dude. So, I mean, it's like, so anyways, so the mechanic's always looking for ways to save money. And here's another thing about me. I've never been cheap. And one of the things that occurred to me when I was younger is I never liked having, like, a bunch of change in my pocket, but I don't want to just throw money out. But what I realized is, like, pennies are fucking pointless. I would have change in my pocket, and I'd be like, well, I can at least make a little less weight in here if I just throw the pennies out. So I would just, whenever I got pennies as change, I would just throw them on the ground. I don't want to carry them around. I'm not worried about breaking a nickel. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be sitting here counting my pennies when I'm buying something. I just end up with pennies everywhere. So I just fucking started throwing them out. And at first, it was a weird thing to throw money out, even though it's just pennies. Like, it would occur to me, like, well, when you throw away 100 of them, that's $1. And I'm like, you know what? It's worth it, maybe 10, 20 bucks a year, to just never deal with fucking pennies anymore. So I would just throw pennies out. And I remember one of my cousins saw me throw a couple of pennies on the ground. She was like, why are you throwing money on the ground? And I explained to her, I'm like, it's pennies. I don't give a shit. She's like, it's still money, you know? She couldn't even grasp it. But so it kind of helped me have this state of mind of just not clinging to money. Now, one of my problems is at the same time, I was under this impression that money is hard to come by, and you know, I'm tired of working these jobs that I hate, but it's the only way I can make money. And but that really shifted once I was homeless and on the street. And at first, I'm doing dollar jokes, and I was barely making any money. But once I started doing the portraits, I had a lot of money coming in, relatively. You know, you're talking, whenever I would sit down and do portraits, I'm gonna make at least $50 probably. And so if I sit there long enough, I'll make a couple hundred. And so all of a sudden, I didn't have to fucking worry about money no more. I was homeless, but money was no longer an issue for me. So my whole fucking mentality, like, shifted. I shifted frequencies, and I realized I'd be like, you know, just out of habit, I'd be like, well, I don't want to buy that. That's expensive. I'm going to go get some cheaper food. But then it occurred to me, like, who cares? You'll just make more money tomorrow. Go spend fucking $30 on food. It doesn't matter. Eat good. You're going to make more money tomorrow. It doesn't make a shit of a difference. So my mentality shifted. Now, but also in the winter, my mentality would shift to poverty again. And just like my subconscious was telling me was going to happen, money became scarce in the winter. But as time went on, and I don't know, the winters started becoming not as difficult as time went on. And so my mentality kind of shifted. But anyways, let me get back to my story with the mechanic here. Now I'm never doing this again. But so the guy's always trying to save money. And so there was a car that I guess he was driving some woman's car, and he broke the drive shaft somehow. The guy drives like a nut sometimes. Like, he's into race cars and all that shit. And so he somehow broke the drive shaft on the minivan, but this happened kind of far away in Largo. Now, I've done this with him before, but only a short distance. So he, like, wanted to tow the car with a tow strap. Now, I am totally new to auto mechanics and all this other shit. So the first time he had me do it, I thought this was normal, just towing a car up the road with a tow strap. But we had to go through some back streets and get it back here. But it's a very dangerous thing to do, because so in order to tow a car with a tow strap, someone has to be in the car being towed, steering it and braking. Otherwise, it's just going to crash right into the car that's towing it, the truck that's towing it. And so we had to go get some customer's car, not far from here, close to here, but the car wouldn't start. And what I didn't realize is that the brakes, when the car's not running, the brakes are very hard to do. So the first time he stopped at a light, I almost fucking rear-ended him. I had to, like, grab the wheel and with all my might push down on this brake. I was like, holy shit, what the like, why would this guy fucking do this? He's risking 2 cars. He's risking everyone's life on the road to save what? 50, 100 fucking dollars, you know? So then he asked, now this was like 8 months ago. Then recently he's like, Joey, can you do me a favor? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I need to tow another car, but this one's all the way to fucking Largo. He's like, but it runs, so the brakes are going to work good and the power steering and all that. I'm like, I didn't want to do it, but I didn't want, you know, the guy lets me stay here for free. Not for free, I give him money. But so when he asked me to do something, I don't want to deny him because he does things for me too. So I was like, all right. And then so we get all the way the fuck down there, and I'm like, oh man, this is far, but at least I'm gonna have the brakes and the steering. But now I think we were using a lifted truck this time to tow it, and last time we weren't. But for whatever reason, this time the tow strap is still the same distance, but I felt like I was right on his ass the whole time we were being towed. And the other thing is his fucking brake lights don't work. One of them does. So now, so I gotta say, this whole drive all the way from Largo, I'm talking, it was probably a 20-minute drive, and I'm being towed behind him, and I've got to pay so much fucking attention because the whole time we're this close to me wrecking into him. And then on top of that, like, someone else pulled out in front of him. He had to pull out in the turn lane, so I've got to steer with him into the turn lane to go around this motherfucker. Like, all this dangerously, ridiculously stupid, dangerous shit you're risking. It's a very stupid and careless and dangerous thing to do, honestly. Now, after this experience with it, I'm never doing that again. I mean, I'm just not taking part in that ever again. If he asks me to do it again, I can't do that. It's just too fucking stupid for me to take part in something like that. Because you're not only risking the 2 vehicles and yourselves, you could get in a bad wreck. People drive like lunatics around here too. And you're also risking everyone else on the road if something goes wrong. I mean, and all to save $100. You know what I mean? You're risking thousands of dollars worth of damage versus thousands of dollars worth of punitive damage. You could be sued for doing stupid, crazy shit like this. And so, but I didn't realize how abnormal and stupid and crazy and careless this was until I got, after this experience, I was like, holy shit, like. And then the other thing is, when you're behind him and they're towing you with a strap, if you hit the brake, it does this like rubber banding thing. So if you hit the brake when he doesn't, it'll stretch the tow strap and then shoot you forward. You understand what I'm saying? There's so many risks and so much danger involved in this. Now, there's a million other people he could ask to do this. I'm flattered that I'm the only person he really trusts to do this. But after experiencing that, and I'm like, yeah, no wonder he trusts me to do it, because he knows how, like, I take everything so seriously and I try so hard with everything. Like, anyone else around here would have been fucking falling asleep. And like me, I was like fucking like the tension, like my handprints are probably gripped on the steering wheel, you know what I mean? But afterwards, I was like, that cannot be a normal fucking thing. This is not a normal. This is fucking psychotic what we just did. So I Googled it, because he's not going to tell me that. He's going to be like, oh no, I do this all the time. So I Googled it, and Google is like, yeah, you can do that to get a car, like a 4x4 out of the woods or something, but you should never fucking take it out on the road. Like, are you fucking stupid? And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I must have been fucking stupid to take part in that. And I'm thinking to myself, all this to save $100. I mean, yeah, I understand nobody wants to waste their money on a tow truck, but Jesus Christ, bro, what you're risking compared to what you're saving, like that mentality, that poor mentality, you're stepping over fucking dollars to pick up fucking dimes. You know what I mean? So, instead of doing stupid, careless, crazy shit like that, stop clinging to the fucking money. And here's the thing. Here's the main mentality shift, the frequency shift that I had. I went from, oh shit, I don't want to spend money on that. I don't have a lot of money. I went from that state of mind to, I can spend whatever the fuck I want and go make it again tomorrow. It doesn't spend your money. Who cares? Go make more. You know what I mean? It went from, and it's like night and day. Once you have the mentality of fucking spend it, I'm gonna make more. And I'll fucking find a way to make more. I don't give I'm not accepting this. I'm clinging to my little bit of money anymore. I'm like, if I'm down to fucking zero, it's time to put the pedal to the floor and work my fucking ass off. You know what I mean? There's no more like, oh, I can't spend my money. No, my mentality is now, I can spend all the money in the world and go make it again. And I'm telling you, once you have that shift in mentality, everything changes. I don't know how to explain it, but I can tell you one thing. It's way easier for me to make money now. The only other time it was this easy for me to make money was when I was doing portraits and I had one of the best spots in New York City to work. So, and what ruined that, I had a good thing going there, and I was about to, watch my previous videos, but I was about to up my business and start selling prints of my other drawings. And then the whole COVID thing happened, and that put me back into poverty mode. All of a sudden, I couldn't make no fucking money, and my frequency dropped quite a bit. I went back to broke mentality, and then the unemployment came in. But let me tell you something. I still had the broke scarcity mentality, because I know the whole time I was getting that unemployment, I know in the back of my head, this is only going to last a year or so. And that ain't shit. They were acting like everyone was getting billions of dollars for unemployment. At the time, I would have preferred if they had just left me working, doing my portraits and making my own money. But they took that option away from me. And thank God they gave me the unemployment, even though I was a street artist. But here's the problem. Even though the unemployment was a lot, and it was good, it was a huge help, but I was clinging to every penny with it, because in the back of my mind, I know this is not going to last, and it could end at any time. They're not going to just keep giving me unemployment for the rest of my life. They're going to cut this off at some point. So, now I got a couple thousand in the bank due to the unemployment, but I got to spend it on a fucking car, because I am not spending it on rent, because I ain't got no job or no source of income. So I got to fucking figure something out. I ended up back in Florida living in a car and doing Uber Eats. Now, the problem there is, once I came down to Florida, I was thinking to myself, I could go figure out the portrait thing, but that's going to take a long time before I start making any decent money at it, because being a street artist takes time. You can set up anywhere and sell your street art, but you got to find the right spots, and you got to find the right time of day. You know what I mean? Which takes time. You've got to go out and experiment and try different spots at different times of day. You got to figure out where the cop situation or the other street performance, street artist situation, you got to figure that all out, and that takes months. So I was thinking to myself, I ain't got time for that. This unemployment could be gone tomorrow. I need to make money now. So I downloaded the Uber Eats app and I started doing that. And it money was scarce, money was hard to come by. I'll just put it to you that way. You're putting all this miles and damage and shit on your car, and you know, it just I'll put it this way. I was making a lot more money and had a lot less overhead when I was doing portraits in Central Park. All I had to buy was ink for my pens, because I buy nice Copic pens that they're not disposable. The line drawing pens that I use are Copic, the metal ones where you buy the ink refills. So, which they're actually like the most expensive pens. They're great. I love the Copic pens. But so my only overhead with the portraits is paper and ink. I don't even need to rebuy the pens, because I've got all the line pens that I wanted. And so doing the portraits, my overhead was basically zero. I was buying paper, putting a drawing on it, and turning it into currency. Basically, people were giving me money for the drawings. So all of a sudden, I'm doing Uber Eats, where I gotta keep up with my car, put gas in it, the oil, and all this shit. I'm doing damage to my car doing Uber Eats, and I was basically breaking even. And I'm like, God damn, man, I came all this way to be broke doing, I can't save up no money doing this. Even though I lived in my car, I still couldn't save up money doing Uber Eats. I was basically breaking even. But here's the thing: I got some habits where I'm not willing to eat cheap anymore. I like that. My health is important to me. I don't eat fucking trash. I'll eat fast food once in a while, just because it's good once in a while. I won't eat it every fucking day, and so I eat expensive for the most part. I don't eat a lot, but that's one of the things that I've never really been willing to give up. I eat good. Now, ever since I started doing the portraits, when I was the dollar joke thing, I was like, I'm gonna eat whatever I can afford. You know what I mean? But so, what I've realized at this point is it's really what it comes down to. They're always talking about, oh, you can manifest your own wealth. And I used to always think to myself, yeah, that and $3 will get me on the subway. I can imagining wealth. What the fuck good is that going to do me? But let me tell you something. It's not just imagining wealth. It's not imagining. It's not thinking. It's not lying to yourself. It's knowing deep down in your subconscious that money is not scarce. This is what they mean by manifesting wealth. Really, what it comes down to is you have to know that money is flowing towards you at all times. It's not, you can't just tell yourself that. You can't just pray for it. You have to know it. You have to believe it. You know what I mean? And you have to believe it on a subconscious level. So what they say, the way to do it is you imagine that you have the things that you want. And let's say you want a new car. You have to, in order to manifest it, apparently you've got to just imagine yourself having it. Now, that used to sound kind of nonsensical to me, but now I actually get it, because now I'm in a state of mind where I know that I not only have the YouTube and the Patreon, but I've also got backups like the portraits in Clearwater Beach. It took me months, but I figured out now I could go out on Clearwater Beach and make decent money doing portraits. It took me a long time to figure it out, but now I've got it figured out. And so the main shift in my consciousness, in my frequency, is that I'm not stressed about money anymore. And now it's not just, it's beyond even the portrait situation, because that was dependent on the weather. Now it's like I've got so many potential sources of income at this point that I can tap into, that I'm genuinely subconsciously just not worried about what money anymore, because I know if one thing is faltering, I can shift and focus on another. Now, for me personally, my wealth, comes from YouTube, Patreon, and then I've got, I can do stand-up comedy, which will get me more views on YouTube. There's so many other things I could be doing. I could be printing up t-shirts, which I'm going to start doing. I've got a lot of shit I'm working on. But so it's like, at this point, I know subconsciously, consciously, on every level, this video is getting a little long, that I can make more money. So, but here's the thing. Now, you know, the whole wealth manifestation thing. You can't just imagine, you know, $1 million and it's going to land in your lap. Although, actually, they say that you can, but that's not how it worked for me. How it worked for me was, I had to really come up with, you know, realistic ways that I believed in. But they say you're actually not supposed to do that, but this is how it worked for me. It had to make sense to me logically. Some people don't have that issue, but that's one of my issues, is like, I can't really believe something fully and subconsciously unless I can break it down logically. Now, I'm a very intuitive person, but I also use my logic, you know what I mean? So I had to, like, justify it logically in my own head. Now, you know, so one of the main differences now, logically, I know, based on my own life experiences, that art can pay the bills in many different ways. So, and it's, you know, you also got to kind of know yourself. So whatever works for you is what you got to use. So some people don't have a lot of artistic abilities. Here's the thing. Those people tend to be better with, like, financial speculation and that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? So what works for me is not going to just work for everyone. You have to figure out what works for you. But I have seen some of these gurus online who say, just know that you already have everything you need and it's all going to fall into place. And their advice is you shouldn't even try to logically break it down, because then you're putting like guidelines, and you're basically like, you're telling the universe that it has to be this way, when really the universe, once it gets the overall feeling that this guy is abundant, the universe will find its own ways to get it to you. You know what I mean? This is what they say. But, and I gotta say, it's probably true. It's just that for me, the steps that I took, I had to use my logic. So, here's one. Man, this video is getting long. So, and, hopefully it's making sense. But so, my main problem with this when the whole COVID thing happened, and here I am in Florida now, I'm trying to get a car to live in, and I'm thinking to myself, I've got to get some income coming in, because this unemployment is not going to last. So, like, my logic was actually a detriment at this point, because I was thinking to myself, you know, like, I need the most realistic way for me to start bringing in money is to do Uber Eats. What I should have done, and which would have made me more money and faster, was focus more on my YouTube. But in my state of mind, and from my background of always trying to control everything, I was thinking to myself, I'll do Uber Eats so I got income, and then I can focus on YouTube. But here's the reality of that. By the end of the day, when I was done doing my Uber Eats, the last thing I wanted to do was work on YouTube. I was also brand new to YouTube, so I was only putting up videos once in a while. And so, if you want the story of how my YouTube got going good, you'd have to watch my previous videos. It's in there somewhere. I don't remember what the title is. But so, my logic was holding me back from doing creative things and tricking me into doing, Uber Eats, which, here's the problem with, like, Uber Eats and every other job. Pretty much anyone can do it, and it's the low-hanging fruit. Everyone's trying to do it. So my advice is figure out what you do best, and or what, like, yeah, anyone can do Uber Eats, and that includes you and me. But here's the thing: there are things you can do that no one else can do, that no one else can do like you can do. So for me, I had to kind of figure those things out to really get to the frequency now where I am in an abundant mindset. I'm not worried about spending money. Like, I could have afforded a new electric bike. I didn't do it myself to be cheap. I did it myself more to save on the weight. So, mainly, I'm just not too concerned about finances anymore. You know what I mean? And I want everyone to get to that point. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not like I've got $10,000 a month coming in, but here's the thing. I believe wholeheartedly that I could have $10,000 a month coming in without much effort. And I'm working on things. I'm taking my time now. I'm in no rush. I'm working on art projects to put on t-shirts and stickers and shit. And, so you also got to realize that I'm brand new to not having all this pressure on me between being homeless and being poor and worrying about people stealing my shit. For right now, I'm chilling and just enjoying not being under all the pressure that I've been under for the last 20 years. But here's the thing, I am getting, it's getting too kind of, I don't want to say boring, but I need a little more excitement. You know what I mean? So it's time for me to start working. I got to get back to doing stand-up. I got to, but I needed a break. You know what I'm saying? So the thing with me is I'm not concerned about the wealth or whatever, because I know as soon as I put my foot on the gas, I'm going to be bringing in a lot of it. And here's the other thing. I don't have any bills. That's another. So, they keep you bogged down in all this low frequency, having you worried about bills and worried about the job, and what they're keeping you at a low frequency is what it comes down to. So you got to find a way, whatever works for you. You got to figure it out, how to raise your frequency to the point where you believe on a subconscious level that wealth is not scarce, it's actually abundant. And I understand it now, and hopefully I've kind of made it make sense. I don't. Let me watch this video and see if I got to redo it, because I want it to actually be useful. I want you guys to understand that it is something you can literally control. So let me watch this video and see if it makes sense. I might refilm it. Maybe I should take notes. I don't know. We'll see. But in case this is the one I put up, I appreciate y'all. Thanks for the subs. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for the tips. Thanks for the Patreon especially. And if you want a response to your comment, try to get it within the first 30. I usually end up responding to like the first 40, 50. But so, yeah, let me watch this video and see if it makes sense. Then I'm going to go get something to eat. And I don't know. I might be refilming this tomorrow. I might be putting this one up. We'll see. So appreciate y'all. And yeah, man, get your mind right, bro. Everything is a state of mind, dude. That's all it is. It's your frequency. Once you get this kind of relaxed, carefree frequency, things are gonna start going a lot easier for you. So yeah, that's the end of this one. I'll see you on the next one. Everybody have a good one.